Good. 2:15, Andy Potter on BBC Radio Derby 3 till 4 this afternoon. Now, let me introduce you to another local musician. There are so many of them around there. The scene in Derby is just huge. And I saw this guy the other week when there was the launch of an album at the Guildhall Theatre. I'll let him introduce himself. And he's got a fascinating backstory.
My name is Scott Thomas.
And what do you call yourself? Are you a multi-talented musician, or is it just the guitar?
I can vaguely play a lot of other things, but nothing ever satisfies me enough that I carry on playing it for more than a month or whatever.
Are you a Derby lad?
I am, yes.
Where from?
Oakwood.
And how old are you? Let's get these important questions out of the way first. These incredibly talented people are very young. How old are you?
I just turned 20.
And you've not been playing for that long, have you?
I've been playing guitar for 10 years on and off, but singing I only started doing December the 17th, a year ago.
What made you decide, you know what, I'm going to sing now?
I always wanted to sing, but I always felt a bit like I couldn't. So I got to, when I was in college, I was in a band with a few of my friends, and we were doing a few songs by Mumford & Sons, and they have really strong harmonies. And at the time we had two singers, so we were discussing something, and I just sort of sang one of the lines from their song, and they said, "Oh, I didn't know you could sing." And I looked at them and went, "Neither did I." And so I sang for the first time then with the band, and then I did a gig on my own, and as most people probably know, the first gig you do always goes awfully, so I never did another one for 6 months, and then I did one more and thought, I didn't get any better, I'll leave it a bit longer. And then the band broke up because everyone moved away to uni and things, and I was sort of sat on my own thinking, well, I don't want to not do music, so I just forced my way through the phase of being awkward and shy and nervous all the time, and here we are.
So is it self-consciousness as well? Is that when you walk in front of people, yes, you can play, and we will hear this afternoon, you can play brilliantly, but then when you're exposing your voice as well, do you think about everybody in front of you?
When I was in the band, not even remotely, because you feel like all the attention's spread between you, so it's a lot easier. But as soon as I got up there on my own, all the eyes in the room sort of turn to you, and you only have a few brief seconds to really get people's attention, that was the hardest thing for me. For a long time, I'd sit really quietly, and people would sort of chatter, which is why I started doing... for every gig I've done, I've opened with a Ben Howard song because he does the percussion stuff, and people tend to look and not look away once I start with that. So,
but it is fascinating when you do the percussion stuff. That's incredibly difficult because you lay the guitar down, and then you've got the rhythm as well as the melody, and then you're singing as well. How do you split your brain to do that? How do you compartmentalise everything?
For me, it was just sitting there. I watched a few videos of him, and then I thought, oh, I really like that. So it just sort of happened. I can't do, like, most people can do a really good guitar solo or something like that. For me, that doesn't... I can sort of do a few, but it doesn't do anything for me. Whereas to sit and do the rhythm of it really got to me. I think what helped was when I was in the band, I used to play guitar, and I'd play a bass drum with one foot and a tambourine with the other, and then sing. And I think that taught my legs rhythm, at least, which then came through my arms, and it all just sort of came together one day, and yeah, that was that.
Have you been surrounded by music all your life, then?
I would say no. When I was 11-ish, I had guitar lessons for a short while because my brother did, and I saw him come home and he played. It was really like Seven Nation Army kind of everything that everyone learns. And from there I thought, oh, I could do that. So I had guitar lessons for a little while, but it never really, I couldn't relate to someone teaching me things. So then I left it for about 5 years, did nothing, and then somehow in year 11 decided, oh, I want to do music at college. And then I had an audition and didn't get in. So I thought, well, I'm not having that. so I went home and worked on everything they told me that wasn't very good. Went back the next year and got in. And then through that, I think most of my learning happened when I was in college because I had a really good friendship group, and my friendship group was also in my band. So all day we'd sit and we'd talk about music, because in Joseph Wright College across the road, the music department's this little dungeon away from everyone else, and you don't really socialise. So we'd just sit talking about what music we were listening to or what ideas we had about this song, and from there it was like 2 years of non-stop talking about music.
But it is a little fame school over there, because the number of people that have come into this studio to play, it's almost like we've got this burgeoning talent in Derby, in the college, so many open mic nights as well. Do you realise what talent is in that building?
When you're there, you don't really think about it because you just see them as friends, or they're students. it doesn't feel the same. But when Harriet, who's studying there, introduced me to a lot of open mic nights, and it was from there that I started bumping into people that I knew from school and people that are at Joseph Wright, and there's so many people doing singer-songwriter stuff, or even bands that you sort of, it takes seeing them all in one place to realise just how many there actually are.
She's got a little house in town, I sometimes go around there to see her, and she let me deep inside. I'll sing her love songs, she'll turn a blind eye, 'cause she ain't the sentimental type. Keep my heart in my pocket and I'll hold it tight. Well, I know that she don't mind if I go away, and I don't go. I know that she don't mind if I'm absent through it all. Well, I know that she don't mind if I go away, and I don't go. I know that she don't mind if I'm absent through it all.
It's fascinating to see that happen in front of you. Scott Thomas lays the guitar down on its side and starts to do the melody and all of the drumming at the same time. More about how he's breaking through into the music business after this.
Ian Sky.
It's a much more mobile society now. People work different times of the week.
The roadworks that we've got planned that start today are on the 85121 in Waterloo Street.
You know, we've been getting things on Facebook, and I'd really like to thank the people at Derby for the support they've shown.
You can hear the emotion, the fear in her voice as she tells 911 that she's been kidnapped, she's been missing for 10 years.
People just go by and they're giving you dirty looks, and then all of a sudden you'll get murdering, swearing after threats. Something was thrown at me.
Ian Sky. Tomorrow morning from 7 on BBC Radio Derby.
Nearly 23 minutes past 2. So Scott Thomas then, another of the local musicians really coming through, got eyes on that album. It looks like things are going to be happening, and very, very quickly indeed. And later on you're going to be hearing him play a little bit of Stevie Wonder, which again is one of those fascinating things though, when you see it happening in front of you, you just go, wow, where's that come from? But it's very difficult to break into the local music scene.
It's a really, really hard scene to get into, I think, because when I first started, there was a fantastic open mic night at the New Zealand Arms run by a guy called Mick. And when I was first, that was where he I was really shy, and I'd get up and he would sit and watch intently as I was doing it and come up and shake my hand and say it was fantastic. And I think he really got me into the scene a little bit more. And then I bumped into Matt McGuinness playing at the Book Cafe, and he's doing so much music in Derby that as soon as you meet him, he knows everybody, and he's doing 10 gigs a month with all sorts of different people. And it was through him that I got my own night at the Book Cafe. And so once you break through, it's easy. You just stumble on people who are doing all sorts. But that initial thing, because for a while it was me with my little guitar supporting metal bands at a few places. And obviously metal tended not to be too interested in what I was doing.
What's it like being a support, though? What's it like being the first on for the night? Do you know that you've got to get people's attention, or do you think all I'm doing is killing time?
I've never really thought about that. Sometimes I like it sometimes because you get the most attention. Because in some places when you go, and as the night draws on, people get tired and people start to lose interest, whereas you go on first. As long as you make the best impression you can, I think some people tend to remember you. I think the middle is the best place to go on a gig because people have been warmed up, but they're not tired yet, so you get the real mass attention in the centre.
And do you stick around as well? If you're first on, do you stick around for the rest of the night, or do you think, I've got another opening spot somewhere else, and you go off to another open mic?
There's been times I've wandered off because there's a couple of gigs I've played where I've been asked to support a headline band, and it was the headline band's first gig, and they bought nobody, and I bought not loads, but a couple of my family and my friends, and the band would wander off into the bar and not sit and watch me. So I was like, well, if that's how you're going to be, if you support me, I'll be there for you. But if you invite me to something and then ignore me and act as if I don't exist, then we're not going to be friends.
Is this a career for you?
I would say it's more of a lifestyle. I don't really do anything else. If you ask any of my friends or family, it's just I wake up in the morning and I've got a guitar in my hand and it stays there until I've written a song or until I've learned a song. And I'm always getting shouted at by my sister for playing non-stop.
But it's a focus that you've got. If you want to make something with this natural talent that you've got that we're hearing, and we're going to talk about a new song that you're going to play for us in just a second, you've got to be thinking, I could do music for the rest of my life if I play my cards right.
That's what I would like to think. When I sit and imagine what else I could be doing, it doesn't really work for me. I've had a few jobs, and I always find that it sort of kills my soul a little bit, if that's the right way of putting it. I can't... While I'm there, I feel like it drains a lot out of me mentally, and then I get home and then there's my guitars all sat on the wall and all around on the floor, and they're everywhere. So I get home and it's just a nice little thing for me.
Is this the most natural way to express yourself as well, with a guitar, with an instrument?
I find it's hard to. When I first started writing songs, it was a lot of influence from my friend group, like I keep saying. Zach and Rob, they were Christians, and they were the first Christians I ever properly spoke to. And then there was a slightly older girl than I was called Phoebe, so she had a really mature outlook. And being around different views and talking about the way they saw things really made me reflect on what I saw. And I think then I started writing songs that were really, really from the heart. And I found it really hard at first, not with people hearing them, with keep playing them and keep reliving it. So then for a while I went into doing songs that were a bit irrelevant and distant from me. And I'm trying to bring it back, but it's a hard thing to do.
Tell us about this song you wrote last Thursday that we're going to hear first here on the afternoon programme. What's its title and what's it about?
It's called Burnin Heat. It's a hard one to describe. When I was younger, well, not much younger, about 15, I had a bit of a dodgy time of life, and I used to do a lot of silly things, and I found that through that I learned that I've got a really addictive personality, so that anything small I feel really addicted to straight away. And I noticed there's like a feeling in your chest that you get it's like someone reaches in and sort of pulls down on everything going on. And so I just sat and out came this song.
Well, I got a fire burning way down inside. Ain't nothing pretty, it's a real bad side. But I know, yeah, I know that it's my desires. I try to hide it, but it just won't go. How can I stop it? Well, I don't know. But then I beg, yeah, I beg it just to leave me alone. My heart's racing and my knees grow weak. Well, I gotta have it or I can't sleep. Won't someone help me with this burning heat?
The person that sits in front of me then, is that the real Scott? Is there a Scott that tucks himself away when he goes back home and he's not the musician and he's got his guitar? Is there a performer? Or are you putting on a front?
I would say that I think in music there's two different people. There's recording artists and performing artists. And I'm not much of a singer, so I'm not a recording artist, but I like to dance. So when I play, I have a dance and I have a good time. And I think it doesn't matter how good your music is. If you don't look like you're having fun, you've got no one pays attention to you because they're not having fun. So I think I'm more of a performer than anything else.
Is the next stage then getting some sort of CD out or download out? How does it work?
Back when I first started, a lot of people asked me for stuff. So I recorded I really rushed something through to give it to people. And then I thought, looking back on it, I mean, the Adam Fletcher, who recorded it for me, did an absolutely amazing job with what I gave him. But I didn't give him enough. And that's why I've written about half of an album that I want to record this year. And I've been in talks with loads of my friends and people who are helping me out. And I think this year, I think that's what's going to happen. That's my really big aim. There's a couple of things that I want to do, and that's really the biggest one.
The other thing is about learning from people that you look at on the TV or whatever, and how you play the guitar. We're going to finish with your rendition of a Stevie Wonder classic, Superstition. But how do you transfer that to a guitar?
I vaguely remember a long time ago seeing someone do something a bit similar, but I don't know what it was they did. And so I just sat there and I heard Superstition on the radio, I think, and I thought, oh, I quite like that. And so I started to play the thingy, and then from there, this is a really bad time, but I learned something to show you how I learned that. Would it be all right to play that?
Yeah, of course it would. Yeah. Get the old guitar out. Let's have a look.
So I was sat at home and I thought, you'd ask me how to play it. So I listened to Billie Jean again and I thought, that's another song. So I broke it down into what it is. There's the bass line. And then there's the chords. And then you can add in the... something like that.
How long did it take you to work that out? Was that really quickly?
About 5 minutes. I've still not worked it out properly, as you can see, but the bass line's really easy. And I knew the chords to it, so I just put them together. The hard bit is doing that.
As always, when anybody comes in and plays live, it is just the most amazing thing to watch. And the fact that I've got socks older than you. When can we see you? Because there is the acoustic festival happens on the 29th of June, but you must have some gigs before then.
I'm at the Book Cafe running my blues, folk, Americana night on the 17th of May. June 29th, I'm doing the acoustic festival on the Market Square, and then July 18th, I'm performing for the first time with a backing band that I've put together as two amazing musicians. That's a social club called the Beaconsfield Club, which she's a fantastic woman who's helping me out to organise a lot of gigs. So.
Listen, it's been brilliant having you in.
Thank you very
We're going to finish on that Superstition. Name again?
Scott Thomas.
This is where you heard him first.
Very superstitious, writings on the wall. Very superstitious, ladder's about to fall. 30-month-old baby broke the looking glass. 7 years old Bella, good things in your past. When you believe in things that you don't understand, then you'll suffer. Superstition.